Hello, this is Sixbolt in Von Doom's lab. Today I'm going to talk about the advanced feature in Hook of the Reaper. So what is the advanced feature? Well, it affects people that have more than 2 light guns. So if a person has 4 light guns in their system, and they, in most games, are 2 players. So let's say about 2/3 of the time he uses the first 2, then the other third of the time he uses the last 2. Well, for the other third, he has to go in and change the assignments all the time, the player assignments. And that might not be, the best solution. I'm trying to figure out what's a good way to do it. And you could have a database to say, hey, for these games, I want these light guns, these games I want this light gun. But, before I try to figure out the best way, there is one solution to do that. And it is to change actually the game file, which I'm trying to stay away from. But I think it's for these kind of maybe rare cases, it might be the best thing. Maybe I should keep it this way, or maybe I'll try to figure out a way where we can keep the files always the same. So let's kind of look at this case. So I'll bring up the Hook of the Reaper, then we'll look at the player assignment. So right now I have 4 light guns in here. So I got 2 Reapers and 2 MX-24 guns from Retro Shooter. So let's say, like I said, 2/3 of the time you use the Reapers, the other third you will like to use the MX-24s. But so if it's a 2-player game, then you would have to switch the assignments around. You got to put the MX up here, and you can probably move the Reaper down, or you can just move it out. Then when you want to do the other game, you have to move it back. So that's not the best way. So how can you get around this? And like I said, you can look at the game file. So let's look up, like I brought up last time, the House of the Dead 4 file. So if you look at the default light gun game format, it actually kind of has 2 sections to it. It has the top section, so the player, and anything above the states here is the top section. This kind of goes into the Hook of the Reaper. And this sets up like how many of the players the game has and what gets hooked into player 1 and player 2. So you don't have to have player 1 and player 2. So in this setup, you could actually have player 3 and player 4. That would be totally valid too. So, but one thing I'm afraid of, people are just going to replace player 1 all with player 3. Then it will change these things down here, which is not good because those signals are actually coming from the game, and you don't want to change them then, because then it's looking for P3, which will never show up. It will be only P1, like P1 ammo. P3 ammo will never show up. But up here, it just tells Hook of the Reaper to use player 3 for player 1. So player 3 gets mapped to player 1, then player 4 will get mapped to player 2. Or you can even change it around. You can have this 4, you can have that 3. So player 4 will go to player 1, then player 3 will go to player 2, if you wanted to. So this just tells Hook of the Reaper what is getting hooked into the player. So you say you have 2 players, so the game's going to have a player 1 and player 2. So then this will tell it, hey, the first one is player 1, then player 2. Then if it, of course, only has 1 player, then it says player 1. And it has 4 players, of course, it'd be player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. So in this instance, so if you want to use the MX-24 guns for this game and don't want to change the assignments all around all the time, you can just change this to P3 and P4 and just save it. Then you're pretty much done. Then anytime this game comes up, it will be using the MX-24, player 3 and player 4, whatever gets to assign to that one. So that's a good way to so you don't have to change things around all the time where you can get up and play. You do have to change the file. It's a small change. Like I said, I'm trying to think about other solutions to get around this so you wouldn't have to. I thought maybe we can do like a database where you can say, okay, for these games, okay, I want to use, change the player assignment around. Use 3 and 4 instead of 1 and 2 or something. Or I can say start at 3 instead of start at 1 maybe, or something like that. I'm still kind of going through all the best options, but for right now, there is something for, to change so people don't have to be switching around assignments all the time if you have multiple light guns. So, and also it's good just to show when you write out the game files, how it's set up. Like the top and bottom part are kind of two separate things. And you never want to change, player 1 and player 2 over down after states. You never want to do that, the game, because those signals are kind of set by the game, not anything from the Hook of the Reaper. You're just telling, hey, look out for this signal. So this player 1 is actually saying it's player 1 in the game. Then that player 1 gets hooked into player 3. So you don't want to change that at all. So I just want to make sure people are very aware of that. But that's kind of getting more into the advanced features and people that have a lot of light guns and how to change things. And I do detail this in the README file kind of a lot. I kind of go through the same thing. There's player ordering in the default light gun game format. And I kind of go over the same thing, what we talked about. How this one is the number of players, and like player 3 gets mapped to player 1, player 4. So you can read more about it, and this kind of goes over exactly what I said. And the other thing I just want to quickly talk about how you can, if you see any problems or bugs with this, so I've tried to test everything out I could, but I know there's going to be some errors. There's probably going to be some features people want. An easy way to do that is just to file an issue. So you can go to the Hook of the Reaper at GitHub. So I'll put a link in the description down below. So when you go there, you can just click on the issue, which is in the top left. You go here, then you can create a new issue. Then over here, you can change what you want. You can put in a bug, you can put a question, you can put in an enhancement request. So you can do a lot of things asked for. Then you can put the title in, put that. So if you do want some features or come up, hey, I have a good idea about how to solve this problem, please just put it in here. Or any bugs, of course, put much detail you can and much descriptions, because one of the problem, I don't have an MX24 light gun, and I don't have a JB gun for IR gun. So I put the commands in. I just have the Reaper, so I test those out the best I can, and hopefully it's, the other ones are the same thing. You're just sending a command, so hopefully everything should work. So if you see anything, just you can put it here and file a bug. But that's it. Thank you. Bye.